I'm your host, Jan Apro, and this is Waycross Community Forum. My guests today are Catherine Rosa, who is the Executive Director, and Pastor Zach Whittle, the Youth Director. And our topic, of course, today is going to be the Food Pantry and Youth Program in conjunction with the Mount Healthy Alliance program in the city of Mount Healthy. Hi, welcome. I'd like to have you with us today.
Thank you.
Listen, tell us about the Mount Healthy Alliance and who and what it is.
The Mount Healthy Alliance is an association of 16 churches. All the churches are in the 45231 zip code, and we come together to serve the community. And the main two ways we do that is with our food pantry that serves over 550 families a month right now. And then we also have our youth program. It's an after-school program, and then our first summer this year, we did a summer program for the kids. So we're there to serve the community, and it's just a group of people with different ideas coming together to do good things for the community.
Good. You mentioned 500 families. Was it 500 families?
Families. It's over 1,500 people a month. That we actually
1,500
serve.
people a month.
A month. We give them 2 to 3 days worth of food, and they're all things on the food pyramid. We are partnered with Free Store Food Bank, and so we're able to get some things at a discount, and other things we have to go out and buy and use coupons and form partnerships any way we can to feed people.
Sounds like my wife with the coupon, that's for sure. Okay, who thought of starting this program for the youth?
Actually, the Alliance came out of a group of pastors that were getting together and talking about things and what was going on in their churches, and that's where the Alliance was born out of. And then we started the food pantry, and years after the food pantry was in place, we were looking for what's our next step. And so we did surveying, we talked to community leaders, citizens, and the next thing that we came across that needed to be addressed was an after-school program for kids, someplace for kids to go.
You know, you mentioned 16 churches, and I take it these 16 churches are all denominations, correct?
All different.
Yes.
We have no two alike.
No two alike. Now that's something to stand up for, because usually there's 2 or 3 Methodists, 2 or 3 whatever, and so on and so forth, and you have none alike.
None alike. It's amazing.
Now that is what you call a well-rounded program.
It is.
Okay. Why did the Mount Healthy Alliance get involved in this program? I mean, they've got all of these food things. They have to do 500 at a crack and 1,500 a month or whatever it might be. Yet they get involved in this. And you're saying that did the pastors come up with this idea? Who came up with this idea of this youth program?
It was actually our board of directors. Our board of directors is made up of one member from each of our churches. So that group comes together, representative from those churches, and that they decided, hey, the next thing we need to do is work with the kids in our community. We seem to have the pantry running smoothly. We're serving people. They know we're here. And out of the pantry, we give out bus tokens for job interviews or medical appointments. We have a nurse that comes in once a month and checks blood pressures and gives referrals for eyeglasses and things like that. And so we were doing all that well, and so the conversation became, what's next? And the next thing, it was very apparent, was there's a pretty good crime rate in the Mount Healthy area, and one of the things that we decided to do was try to get kids focused in a good direction so that they wouldn't take that path.
Well, you mentioned something there that caught my eye real quick. You mentioned that the area, a crime area or something like that, is there that much of a situation where it deems something like this program?
One of our pastors, who actually is no longer at the church that she was at, did some surveying, and she was watching the ink blotters and that come out from the police department, and was noticing that the highest crime rate was in the 18 to 21-year-old range.
Right.
And so one of the things we thought about is, let's serve these kids before they get to that point and see if we can't help them enrich their lives. And that's where the youth program and Pastor Zach come into play.
Well, the other thing you talked about was blood pressure and glasses and so on and so forth. Now, was this just focused on the adults in the adult program, basically?
It's anybody who comes into the pantry. We'll take care of that.
Anybody who comes into the pantry.
We have actually registered nurses that are there once a month, and so what they do is, if anybody has a need, the nurses will sit down with that family and talk with them and find out what they need, and then refer them on to whatever services are necessary.
Sounds good. All right. Who came up with the name Zone 231 And is this AM or PM? And what is the significance of this name?
It's open during PM. My phone's ringing from kids on the AM. Believe it or not, before we opened, we narrowed it down to 3 selections and went. I took a group of kids, my own kids and some of their friends, and went to the Mount Healthy football players, different kids in the community, and we had a vote. And that's where the name Zone came into play. The 231 is just the last 3 numbers of the zip code.
Oh, okay. Yeah, 45231. I can buy that. Okay. So in other words, you got the zone, of course, meaning the football field and so on and so forth, right?
I'm not real sure what they were thinking.
They came up with some kind of zone.
They came up with quite a few different names. So
Okay.
we took all the names out and had it voted on, and they really liked the zone and it being the kid zone and teen zone and their zone, and so we went with it.
Okay. Well, that sounds, well, I threw the AM, PM because, when I saw this, when I first saw it, I thought, I don't understand Zone 231. And, that's the reason I threw in AM, PM, my little quick or whatever you want to call it. Anyhow, who can belong to Zone 231?
Any child from the age of 6 to 17.
6 to 17.
They can still come at 18, but at that point we transition them to kind of a helper volunteer, where they're more of a junior leader alongside some of the adults, get some experience in leading, experience in volunteering, experience in helping younger people.
So in other words, when they get to the age of 18, you could use them to help with the program with the younger kids in there. In other words.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. That's good. That's good use of manpower, woman power, whatever you want to call it.
Creating mentors.
Okay. Is there an age? You said something about an age. You said the age is 6 to 17. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. Well, what do you do in Zone 231? Come on. You're talking about youth now. You're talking about kids from 6 to 17. Now, what do you put together there for this group, that group, and age group, so on and so forth down the line?
From 3 to 4 p.m. every day, we offer tutoring, homework help, or Bible study. You must do one of the 3. The first hour is quiet. We focus on grades, we focus on education, or spiritual help. From 4 o'clock to 6 o'clock, it is the most controlled chaos you've ever seen. We have video games from every video system. We have pool tables, foosball tables, air hockey tables, ping pong tables, games, board games, puzzles. We have ladies who come in every day and do crafts. And every Thursday, starting the 25th of August, every Thursday we will start a class from 4 to 6. And we're letting the kids vote on what classes they want. We'll be doing a dancing class, a singing class, instruments class, a mixed martial arts class, and a drawing class as of right now. So we're trying to let the kids develop into what they want to do, with our main focus being on their education and their growth.
I'm trying to think of it. When you mention all these, Zach, I mean, this is mind-boggling. I mean, when you think of all of these things these young people can do, why shouldn't kids go there? I'm serious. You couldn't ask for anything. The only thing you didn't mention one thing, though, a cooking class.
We do not have the facilities for a cooking class.
That's my fault. I did not want a stove in there with kids.
Because every time you turn around, somebody will say, well, how did you learn how, when, they grow up and so on. Where did you learn how to cook? Well, I was in the kitchen with my mom or my grandma or somebody else. And a lot of kids today do like to cook. It's amazing.
We actually have a group of ladies from the Mount Healthy United Methodist Church who make candy every year. Old-fashioned, where you have to pull it.
Yeah,
and
taffy and all that good stuff.
Right. They make all kinds of stuff. And they have offered for the kids to come over and learn how to make the candy and watch what they do. So.
And I've offered to be the official taste tester.
Well, I kind of figured that, Zach, but I didn't want to say anything about that. Well, according to what you're telling me, a young person, whomever, can almost go into anything that you've mentioned. I mean, there's such a great volume of things that they can get into.
With the diversity in age, race, and ethnic background, we're trying to meet as many needs in one building as possible. So allowing the kids individuality while growing all requires volunteers. So the more volunteers I have, the more stuff that they're able to do. And I have a wide variety of volunteers, so it's really been helpful to impact them in ways that they want to learn. They want to do things, then we want to be able to provide the opportunity for them to do them.
So basically, a lot of your volunteers are, I don't know if I want to say pros or semi-pros, but they have worked with the specific topic that they're going to teach for quite a while, like a cook or a chef or something.
We have some volunteers who are specialized.
That's
We have
what I
some
meant to
teachers,
say, yeah.
We have some artists, and then we have some that just have never grown up. So they know how to sit around, play video games, high-five kids, play pool, and just be cool.
But that's kind of a good thing if you stop and think about it. You don't always want to have somebody that's a pro right down the line. You want to have some diversification in the individual. Now, if you said to me, why don't you come in and play a video game with this, and I look at you and say, no, I'd rather cook.
Yeah.
Because I am not versed in video games, But there are people out there that this is a thing that they like. This is a thing they
So is that
do.
what it's going to take to get you to volunteer? I need a stove?
Yeah.
What about an easy bake oven? I have one of those.
An easy bake oven?
We can make this work.
Oh, well.
See, we meet people where they're at.
Oh, gee, okay. All right, Zach. Is there any cost to become involved in Zone 231? I mean,
Everything is completely free for all children attending. It is sponsored by all 16 churches of the Alliance and its members.
I'm going to throw another one out while you're talking about that. How do you get the funding, for this particular program? You said this churches. Well, Catherine?
That's my role.
That's my role.
Yeah, we get, most of our money comes from individual donations and our churches. They all support us. We have businesses in the organization. One of our weeks this summer was supported by the Mount Healthy Business Association. One was sponsored by Hope for You, one of our churches. And it's just amazing, the outpouring. We always need more, and the more we have, the more we can do. We were only open 3 days a week the last 2 years with our youth program, and this year we're going to be open all 5 days after school. So it's a great need, but we do get some grants. We had a grant for the summer from Greater Cincinnati Foundation, and so we have different sources, but it takes a lot of work and dedication to raise the money to be able to provide all these services for free. We've averaged, it's about $135 per month per child.
Wow.
So that's how we're able to run the program, which when you look at that over the long run is really
That's a
really
dollar or
cheap.
two, come to think of it.
Well, when you
I mean,
think
if
about it,
you got 50 kids or something at $135 a child.
when you realize during the summertime we were feeding them supper every night. We were open from 3 to 8. And so we were providing, one of the reasons we did that is that they weren't going to be getting their free lunches and breakfasts at school.
Right.
And so one of the things we decided to do was provide dinner and stay open a little bit later. And so part of what's in there are some of those things. We also went to a Reds game, which was really wonderful. Some of the kids had never been to see the Reds before, so we were able to provide that. And that was part of what Greater Cincinnati Foundation helped us with.
And we did bring some kids, here's your cooking, we did bring some kids to my restaurant and cooked and served dinner, brought dinner back.
Brought dinner back. They did.
You have a restaurant?
I work at a restaurant called J Gumbo's in Feeneytown.
Oh,
So
for goodness sakes.
They've helped
Yeah,
as far as that
I'm
goes.
familiar with it.
And then we had a lot of churches cook certain nights, and they would volunteer a night to cook. Certain volunteers would volunteer a night to cook, and then one volunteer every Friday buys pizza. So,
Oh, that's great. Oh, that sounds good. I mean, so I wasn't wrong when I brought up the cooking bit, was I?
You weren't.
not completely.
Well, no, not completely. Okay, Zach, I'll remember that. This program that you've got, this Zone 231 program, has this program had any kind of impact on the youth that's in the community and also the community itself? Because you were talking about, the kids walking the streets and whatever, getting into trouble and so on and so forth.
Well, before the summer, it had, during the last school year, is when I really noticed impact in certain children's lives. Their grades, their families coming to us and saying our child is struggling in this area. Us putting them with private tutors and really seeing that child develop and flourish and pass. And then being involved, the kids got us involved into their entire families. And I was asked to perform one family's wedding recently. which was the most fun I think I've had all summer. And then over the summer, we've seen a lot more impact because we've been out in the community doing things, teaching the kids about responsibility, teaching them how to give back and clean up. So we've walked the streets with garbage bags, cleaning up trash, cleaning up flower beds, mowing yards, doing whatever we could to give back to those in the area and show that we're not, just sucking up our air conditioner all summer. We're out trying to give back and show the kids what it's like to be a responsible adult. And now I don't think any kid has thrown trash away since that day. I don't believe they've thrown any trash in the street after coming back with several bags.
Well, that's it. And, talking to you and listening to you about it as far as these different programs, I noticed that in one of the churches, which could be a part of the Alliance, the Lutheran Church, okay, they have what they call a garden program, don't they?
They do.
Yes, sir.
You get your kids involved in something like that?
We were unable to partner with the Lutheran because we decided to do the summer program so late.
Okay.
So we started learning how to plant things. We grew. Everyone got their own plant to decorate.
Oh, okay.
We grew our own thing. Everybody got to grow something different, and they got to pick what they want to grow, flowers, vegetables. So that was our beginning this year. So next summer we do plan on being more involved in trying to plant a garden. I don't really have a green thumb, but I'm sure one of our volunteers will.
Well, the only reason I brought that up is because, a lot of times, and I've heard this said a lot of times, if something happened to the food, you can't go to Kroger's for some unknown reason, and there's no food, do these kids know how to plant a garden? And
Well,
it's like the old story. Can you fish? Can you hunt? Can you plant a garden?
We're actually involved. There's another community garden that the city was involved with getting started. And a Boy Scout, and I wish I knew his name, but I don't, was working on his Eagle Scout badge. It's at the end of Forest Avenue in Mont Healthy.
Sure.
And so he did that, and all of the fruits and vegetables that he grew are being donated to our pantry. So it's a great community effort where you have the city involved, you have kids involved, and we're hoping over the long term, once we get into the school year, that we're going to go over there and help tend to the garden once a week. And it's just one of those things where it's another piece of this puzzle of pulling these churches together. Now we're pulling community pieces together. So you've got the city involved, you've got some citizens involved, and we're benefiting the pantry, which benefits citizens. So it's just a neat thing.
Well, I was thinking about your place over there. You grow a vegetable and cook them up, and I think he's a chef. He's in hiding.
He thinks he's a chef.
Well, Anyhow, one other question I had, you're talking about getting the community involved. Is the police department in the city of Mount Healthy involved in any way, shape, or form with your programs and helping the kids and helping you?
They have an open door policy with us where I can call anytime I feel like it, and they'll send out an officer to come talk.
Okay.
We've had them come out several times just to talk about different things. When there was a murder of a young man who graduated Mount Healthy High School, we had them come out and talk about the violence and those type of things. One of the weeks that we did this week during the summer, we did themed weeks, and one of the weeks was Safety Week.
Okay.
And the fire department allowed us to bring our kids over. The police department allowed us to bring our kids over. So they're very active, and they come in if they have questions. They come in if they're getting off. We have one officer who stopped in when he's off duty just to say hi to some of the kids. So they're beginning to interact well with one another, especially some of the kids not knowing exactly how to carry themselves around police officers. They're learning more and more, and the police officers are learning how to talk to them a little easier.
Right.
So it's been pretty cool to watch. They've come out and just had presentations. They've come out and just stopped in and had conversations. It's been really, really fun to
See, that's
watch.
one of the things I was thinking about because, when you talk about the crime and responsibility and so on and so forth, one of the things I think is a very important factor is that I think the young people today have to learn not only responsibility, but respect.
Absolutely.
And I think that's one of the biggest things we all have to look forward to because you see it, hear it every day, newspapers, television about, this, that, and the other thing. And I'm thinking, if the kids get to learn that, hey, all they got to do is listen, and the person that's talking to them, like you two, okay, or saying, hey, I have respect for what Zach and what Catherine says, and this is the thing that they need. And And I think that your program is great in doing something like that because you're opening the program up for anybody and everybody from 6 to 17. And I think that's the area you've got to hit.
It's amazing when the doors are open, and sometimes I'll just sit on one of our couches and some of the kids will come over, hi Miss Catherine, hi Miss Catherine, and they'll start talking about things going on in their lives, and they're wanting feedback, and they're wanting to try to understand what's happening in their life, and to have some adults who really care about them has been huge. And when they took them to the Reds game, I wasn't able to go, I was at my other job, but when they took them to the Reds game, they were respectful in public. I mean, we took 39. We had a huge crowd.
Yeah, 39 kids.
The amazing thing is we get feedback from the community about how respectful our kids are when they're out in the community. And that just warms my heart. It's like we're making a difference
And the
here.
great thing is now that we've been open a while, the parents coming in and letting us know how the kids are doing, letting us know what the parents may need help with, or parents coming in asking us what we need help with. So it's really beginning to grow a community bond, not just with young people, but their families as well.
Well, I'm glad to hear you say that because it's a two-way street. The parents want to know how to help the kids because they're having a problem, but also the kids need to help the parents as to problems they may have. And that's an important factor, too, when you're talking, working hand in hand with the whole program. Is there a limited number of kids that can come into this program? I mean, I'm talking about space. What? I mean, 150 kids walk in there. What are you going to do, Zach?
The building permit says 49. Hopefully he's not watching. I had 70 signed up for something.
I didn't hear a thing you said.
But luckily they didn't all show up in one day.
Okay.
So we do about 50, 49.
Okay, all right.
Is where we'll cut it off. We'll start our registrations the 25th of August, and when we hit 50, we'll cut it off.
Brings a good point up. Now you say registrations. Let's say that you have 50 going in, and after a month, several of the kids drop out or they don't show up. Do you have a waiting list that you can call these folks and get them in there?
That's how we did the summer.
The spaces?
That's
You
how we
know,
did the summer.
Fill the spaces, in other words.
When we hit a certain number in summer, we stopped, and then people kept coming and filling out registrations, and we started a waiting list and would call them as numbers would start to dwindle.
That's I was going to say, because you can have a waiting list, and these kids want to get in, and if somebody says, "Well, I don't want to do this anymore," you got a spot for them to fill a
Right.
spot. Okay.
Every day they check in when they come in. There's a desk at the front door, and they know to check in when they walk in the door. And so we keep track. If there's a child who hasn't been there for a week or two, we'll try to make contact with them or try to figure out what's going on with the family. And then if they're not coming back, we'll fill the spot.
Oh, great. Okay. What is the goal of Zone 231 in the program?
To impact the youth of this generation. I was raised in New Orleans. I've done everything a child could do wrong. I'm a former gang member turned pastor. So I know what they've gone through. I know what they're going through with peers, with school, with girls. I had my first child well in my early teens. So I completely understand those things. So impacting them to become young men and women of society that can impact the next generation and give back and keep the ball rolling. If we don't take care of our own, then no one's going to take care of us.
So basically, it's the responsibility that they have to look at. And that's what you're talking about. They have to be responsible for their actions. And that's the thing that a lot of, I don't care, I'll just go ahead and do this. And from what you're telling me, I think you're a good teacher.
Well, as the number one thing as a pastor, my number one goal is to show them the hands and feet of Jesus Christ. And I believe doing that is by showing them love, understanding, listening, and showing them the right ways to do things, and to not condemn them when they make a mistake, but help them figure out, one, how will they recover from it, and how will they make restitution for their wrong. And so far the kids have been wonderful. I've learned more from them, I think, than they'll ever learn from me.
Yeah, the problem of it is a lot of times parents don't listen to their kids.
We have a great group of parents so far that I've been interactive with. All the parents that have came have been fantastic. We have one set of parents, a husband and wife that I performed their wedding. They're so involved that they're becoming other kids' parents, whether they wanted to be or not. So they're
Okay.
the kids. So far, it's been fantastic.
All right. What is the location of this Zone 231?
We're at 7605 Hamilton Avenue,
Okay.
right in the heart of Mont Healthy. If you've been around Mont Healthy any length of time, it's what was once the old Manarino sheet music store from years ago.
I got one better for you. How close is it to the Little Dutch Bakery?
We're 3 doors down.
3 doors down.
See, I know
3
the
doors
Little Dutch
down.
Bakery
That's
is.
And
Yeah.
right across the street, directly across the street from Mount Healthy Library.
Oh, okay, sure, which is, yeah, that's directly across the street. Okay, what, and the days, now you said that you're going to have new days coming up in August?
August 25th.
Days and times, if you.
It'll be from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Starting August 25th, Monday through Friday. And that's when our new program, our summer program ends this week. We'll be closed a week, and then August 25th we'll open up with the new hours of Monday through Friday.
Oh, okay, okay. How can our viewers get some more information about this great program that you're involved with?
Probably the easiest way is to go to our website. It's at www.mthealthyalliance.org.
Okay.
And they can, on our website, you can sign up to be a volunteer. You can click through and look at our churches, who's involved. You can check out our different programs. There's descriptions on there of all of our programs. They're certainly welcome to contact either one of us. My email is director@mthealthyalliance.org. Zach's is youth@mtalliance.org. And if you are interested in the pantry, Kathy Lorenz is our pantry
Right.
director, and her email is pantry@mthealthyalliance.org.
You brought up something in just what you were talking about there. Volunteers.
We do not.
Is that part of yours? Is that part of Catherine's?
Both.
Or both?
Both, including Miss Kathy Lorenz as well.
And Kathy
Right.
too, I know.
So,
Yeah.
anytime you're doing something of this magnitude, whether it's the youth or the pantry, affecting families and affecting the community, you need volunteers.
Okay.
And if they don't want to be at the youth center, the pantry can always use them. If they don't want to play video games, they can do a craft. If they just want to hang out, or if they would prefer to stock shelves, Miss Kathy can always use the help as well.
Absolutely.
Okay, Catherine, I got 1 minute. What do you want to tell our viewers?
We would love for you to be involved with our program, whether it's supporting us in prayer, whether it is donating to us, or whether it's volunteering. We would love the support. We'd love for you to be involved with us. We have great vision, and it's just neat to see all these people come together. I'd invite you to stop by either the pantry, which is at the Christian Church at 7717 Harrison Avenue, or come by and see us at the youth program.
Great. Pastor Zach, you got a minute.
I don't need a minute. Stop in and let's have some fun. Once you see these kids and you see the impact it's having, you can't walk out.
Well, I was thrilled to get the newspaper here, which I have here, about the article
That's a
about you
good-looking
all.
guy.
Yeah, well, I was looking at this young fella here. But anyhow, it was very interesting for me, and that's one of the reasons I wanted to get in touch with you folks, so that our viewers out there get an opportunity to know exactly what you all are doing for the youth and the communities around us here. So, with that, I will say to you, thank you so very, very much.
Thank you.
For taking care of our viewers and letting them know just exactly what you do. And I would like, if you would like to take part as a volunteer here at Waycross Community Media, please give us a call at 825-2429. And this is Jan Apro. Until next time.